right, welcome to a new episode of World Scollide, the podcast about moving abroad. And by the way, it's not the podcast about wrestling because there is another one with this name, but we're talking about moving abroad and more particular of moving to Germany. And my guest is Caitlin. Hey, how are you, Caitlin?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Yeah, I'm good too. Thank you. And thank you for being on the podcast today.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
excited.
yes. So I just said you're in Germany. So where in Germany are you?
Yeah, I'm in a small city called Tübingen, which is in southwest Germany.
Hmm. And you just moved there not too long ago. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's April right now. We just arrived in January, so 3 months.
Okay. And what brought you there?
Yeah, I'm here on a Fulbright Scholar grant. So we're here temporarily. I'm here with my family, but I'm here at the University of Tübingen doing a research project, and then I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna go back home to my home university.
Okay. So is that like a PhD kind of thing, or is that what is it?
Yeah, so Fulbright has several levels. There's one where if you just get out of undergrad and you want to go teach English, you can apply and do that in all kinds of countries around the world. And then there's one that you can do as a PhD or a master's student. And I actually had one of those when I was in my PhD as well. And then there is a couple levels, I guess, as a after your PhD where you can apply with a research project, or there's, I think, like distinguished scholar ones as you get even further along in your career.
Okay. And which one is your home university? So we're gonna get an idea where you are from or where you are based usually.
Yeah, I'm from Michigan State University in Michigan, obviously.
Yeah, obviously, obviously. Okay, so I know that this is not your first time in Germany.
Mhm.
You've been to Germany before COVID and then you had to abruptly go home, right?
Yeah, so that's what happened on my prior Fulbright that I had as a PhD student. We arrived to Dortmund in January of 2020, and then in
Mm-hmm.
mid-March, we had to get on like an emergency flight to go home.
Well, you made it 1 month longer this
I
time.
know, I know. And we keep just like crossing our fingers anytime there's any news of things that are a little destabilizing. But we
Uh,
made it longer than the last time.
okay, but at least there's no pandemic inside. So this is good. At
Yes.
least nothing in the news.
Yeah.
All right, I keep my fingers crossed for you, but for everyone else, of course, too. All right, and so how is it different for you? Like this time, being in the south versus Dortmund, which is more north. So,
Yeah.
like,
So
is there like a different culture? Are people different? Of course, the dialect is completely different, but maybe you
yeah,
can tell us a
which
little bit
it's
more.
it's actually hard for me to tell, like to distinguish the dialect as a non-native speaker, and especially the other trip being so long ago.
Mm-hmm.
But Dortmund is in northwest Germany. It's a very industrial feeling kind of city, and everything's much newer there because it's where the industry was. It all got bombed out in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, when we were moving into our apartment in Dortmund, we had to wait like a day or two because they had to clear old bombs that they found from World War II, and that's not
Yeah.
an uncommon thing.
Yeah, no, it is not. Yes, I remember we had to evacuate like a few times because
Mhm.
they found at some construction site some old munition.
Yeah. And where
Yeah.
were you in
I'm
Germany?
I'm I'm from the Dortmund area too.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
Hmm.
And so here in Tübingen, it's like it has a very old part of the center part of town. It's interesting because it's the university throughout the city as well. So there's a mix of very old architecture and very new modern architecture.
Ah, okay.
And it's a little bit hillier here, which is nice.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it's a smaller city than Dortmund, so there's a lot of things that make it different, like the region, the culture, the architecture, and the size as well. But with it
Yeah,
being a
sure.
university town, it's very young and lively, and there's a lot going on.
Yeah, so that is fun. And were you like thinking, or did you have like doubts of going abroad again? Because you said you brought your family, so you had to take care of your little daughter.
I didn't have doubts when I was like applying for the Fulbright, but then once I got it and had to do like more paperwork than I've ever had to do in my life as we were
Uh-huh.
preparing to come here, I was like, oh, I hope this is worth it. And even just 3 months in, if something did happen and we had to go back, it's been totally worth it. But there was so much that we had to deal with in the lead up to it that
Uh-huh.
that was the only part where I was feeling any doubt.
Okay, so what were like the biggest things you had to deal with?
Yeah, so we just had to deal with a lot of paperwork with like my home institution because I'm on leave from my position there, the university that I'm based at here, and the Fulbright Commission. They're like separate entities, so you have to deal with paperwork for them separately. Then there's the visas to get to come to Germany. And then
Uh-huh.
we have a house in Lansing. And so we had to go through a bunch of paperwork to get that licensed as a rental and then find somebody to rent it out for while we were gone.
Ah, okay. So like all just bureaucracy stuff,
Yeah.
but like something um more like feeling wise.
No, I mean, just the pain of having to deal with all of that. I guess there was
Okay.
also there was some uncertainty around childcare for my daughter
Mm-hmm.
because she's 4. So in the US, she was in preschool. Here, she would be in the age for what they call kindergarten, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like not school yet.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't belong. It's still like a daycare, more or
Yeah.
less. Yeah.
But this, like Tübingen in particular, and I think a lot of cities in Germany have a childcare shortage.
Oh no, they do
So,
have it. Okay. Uh-huh.
yeah, so we were basically told, like, well, you could apply, but you're not going to
You
get
don't know.
a
Mm-hmm.
place because there's no legal requirement to provide childcare for families where you'll be in Germany for less than 1 year.
So you're there for less than a year?
Yeah, it's 7 months total.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay, so going back to childcare, so there is no guarantee that you're gonna find a place for her.
Yeah, so among all the other paperwork I was doing, I just didn't apply for the kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
And but then I had a meeting with some of my coworkers here and they said, "Well, you should keep looking for other options." And someone else who had done a Fulbright mentioned the Tageselternverein. So
Uh-huh.
that's like an organization where people do in-home daycares for kids from ages of 1 to 3.
Mm-hmm.
And they were able to take our daughter, even though she's a little bit older than the typical ages that they accept. We
Ah,
were
okay.
finally able to find her a
O-
place.
Okay, so that is basically it's usually like one woman who takes care of like a few kids. Like she
Yeah.
has whatever 3 or 4 kids at home. She goes to the park with them. It's
Yeah, exactly. And
yeah.
our Tagesmutter,
Mm-hmm.
she has a concept of like a mobile daycare. And so they go all over the city. They'll get on the bus and go to a farm or go to her garden or go all kinds of different places. So I think it's been a good experience for
Oh,
my
that's so
daughter.
fun.
We'll be
Yes.
walking around town and she'll be like, oh, like this thing is over here, or there's a playground that way. And it's fun that she knows the city in ways that we don't.
Uh-huh. And what about Jerome, like your partner? Did he bring his job abroad, or what was his situation like?
So he's been a stay-at-home parent since our daughter was born, but he
Uh-huh.
also has done audiobook recordings, and so that's something that he is able to bring along and do. He also still has to do a lot of parenting because the daycare only goes until 1 each day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So okay. And could he bring his job home? Because like I know you need like a lot of nice soundproof equipment and all this. So I
Yeah,
think it was
it's a
like something
little
hard to carry
bit,
around.
yeah, it's taken a little bit of creativity
Yeah,
around
yeah,
it,
yeah.
but luckily we're in where the we're one of only 2 apartments in this building, and the other one is vacant right now, so that helps a lot on the
Oh,
noise.
okay. So there's no, okay, that's nice. So it's quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And but was there an issue with the language for you or for your daughter? Like your program, is it in English?
My program is in English, and everybody speaks English. There's a lot of people who work there who don't speak German. For my last Fulbright, that wasn't as much the case. There were mostly Germans at the office, and so they spoke in German a lot for meetings and things, and I was
Mm-hmm.
pretty lost.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of like college level German courses, and our last time here, I was taking a B1 intensive course. So
Uh-huh.
my German is enough to like get around and do the daily stuff,
Sure.
but I could not at this level do my job in German. But I'm really lucky that the space that I'm at the university, they're super accommodating for it. Everybody is English most of the time, and so that's been
Mm-hmm.
really helpful.
What about finding the Tagesmutter? Was
Yeah.
it interesting with dealing in a different language?
That they actually spoke English to us as well when we did like a
Oh,
Zoom
good.
call. And so some things have been over German, but that's like over email and forms. And so things that I can take time to translate when I don't
Sure.
understand.
Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, like, even though you are like in a smaller city, you are fine with English, but it's also because it's a university city.
Yeah, the university helps a lot, I think.
Uh-huh.
But also we're getting better at being able to do German when we're out and about, like at restaurants and stores and stuff. That's usually not a problem unless there's
Mm-hmm.
something new, a word we haven't heard before or something.
Right. So I wonder, like, when you are out and about, I kind of want to circle back a little bit about that cultural differences. Um, so how do the Germans, how do you find them? Like, are they warm or are they more distant?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot because I know there is this perception that they're pretty distant and like not very friendly. But honestly, I feel like I say a casual hello to more people here than in my home city. And I think some of
Uh-huh.
that is because everybody like walks or take the bus. And so you
Okay,
just
yeah.
come across more people naturally.
Uh-huh.
I think also having a 4-year-old with me a lot of the time, like she's very cute. And so many like usually older people will comment about like what she's wearing
Uh-huh.
or what she's doing.
Oh yeah, of course it helps. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So between that and then, the folks at my in the lab that I'm at the university, they speak English and they do like social events together and things like that. I haven't found the socialization part of the culture too difficult to integrate
Okay.
into.
All right. So did you also meet people yet outside of your university program, or is that a little bit harder? I mean, and then I mean, of course, like if they take care of that, then you're already taken care of. You don't need to go outside of whatever your comfort zone even more.
Yeah, we've done a couple of things outside of that. So, in addition to like my lab group at the University Welcome Center does host like a Stammtisch, like a meetup where
Uh-huh.
you go to a restaurant with other international visitors. And then there is also a German American Institute in town here, and they host a Stammtisch as well. And those are in English.
Mm-hmm.
So we've done those, and then my husband has done like he went to his first Pokemon meetup yesterday.
Oh.
No one was really like talking; they were all just like on their
Oh,
phones.
they're just like on their phones and moving
Yeah,
their thumbs.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, your husband and my husband, they should be friends.
Okay, yeah, he loves adding Poke friends. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's doing that too.
yeah,
I thought that was not a thing anymore, but apparently it
for
still is.
some people, yeah. Well,
Mm.
and yeah, Jerome has, a whole collection of his ones that he's gotten in different countries that we've visited and that kind of thing. So it's kind of, some people collect postcards
Souvenirs.
or yes,
Yeah, yeah,
and
sure.
Pokemon are his souvenirs.
Fair enough. Okay. Everybody got their own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also your apartment. I just want to ask a little bit more about the technicalities. Like, was like all this settling in part, finding a place, was this all taken care of by your university?
The university helped a lot again. So, and luckily with the Fulbright, I knew like more than a year in advance, I think, that we would be
Ah,
here.
uh-huh.
And so because of that, we were able to get a university apartment. We had to book it like a year in advance, and it was not available for us for the first month. So the first month, I paid more than I've ever paid for like an Airbnb, because
Sure.
housing is really hard to get here, and it's
Okay.
it's pretty expensive because it's a
And
small city. There's just not enough space for all the
for
people.
like all the students.
Yeah. And so our first month was January. So it was like cold. We didn't bring our heavy duty winter stuff because it's hard to pack everything.
Yeah.
And, we're here through multiple seasons. So the first month was definitely harder because we were also a bit out of town. It was like, maybe a 15-minute bus ride to get into town.
Okay.
um, and you're just getting here and everything's dark and cold, and so I would say the first
Right.
month was our hardest for
Right.
settling in. And then once we were able to move into the university apartment, it's quite big, for us as a family of three, and it's right in town. I'm a 3-minute walk from work, and
Oh,
there's
so convenient. A
yeah,
supermarket right around the corner.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, and that is all convenient. Are you usually when you are at home, do you, I mean home in Michigan, do you like in the suburbs, are you like dependent on your car?
No, we are in a pretty walkable neighborhood in Michigan. We bought
Mm-hmm.
intentionally in a pretty walkable neighborhood because we knew that was something we valued. And
Yeah.
when I was in grad school, we sold our second car. So we've been a one car family since then. So
Uh-huh.
I usually bike or bus commute at home. So we're pretty used to that.
Okay, so you didn't have a transition in that point, but was it hard for you to get used to public transportation somewhere else?
Yeah, it took a while. It took probably about a month for us to figure out just like which tickets we should buy, because there's the Deutschland ticket, which is for regional and local transit in all of Germany. Tübingen has their own ticket that you can buy for just the Tübingen buses.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then there's the Deutsche Bahn cards, which
Right,
you can
makes
get
it cheaper.
discounts on the long distance,
Hmm.
fast trains to different cities. So it just took us a long time to figure out like which of those makes sense for us. And so now we have the Deutschland ticket, so we can just
So you
hop
can
on
go
pretty much any
everywhere.
like bus or train, and it's
Yes. Would
convenient.
you recommend getting the Deutschland ticket?
Yeah, I would. We had waited for like a month, and I wish we had just gotten it, because then we were either like buying tickets for the bus all the time or just hoping that they wouldn't come check for tickets. And
Right.
yeah.
Right. So can you maybe explain to the listener who are like interested in moving to Germany, like why the Deutschland ticket is great, and maybe you can explain it a little bit?
Yeah, so it's you pay once a month, and it's 63 euros a month, and then you can get on any local transit in any city, so not just the one that you live in. And then you can also take regional trains, which you can get around like all of Germany with them, but they're just slower than the ice trains. But so we can get to all the surrounding cities, including Stuttgart, which is a pretty big city, for free, and you just hop on any train or bus.
Yes, and you can, but you cannot take the ice train.
No, you can't take the ice train with the Deutschland ticket, which are
Okay,
the
but like,
faster, longer distance ones. Yeah.
but you can still go. Let's say you could still go from the south to Berlin, but it might just take a day.
Yes, it would take a while, and you'd have to do a lot of transfers at a lot of train
Yes,
stations, I think, which
yes,
is more work than I want to do with a 4-year-old, and maybe
yes,
sometimes by myself.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. But in theory, it would be possible.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So I don't know because like I think the Deutschland ticket is also great. I never had it, but
Yeah,
of
it's
course
pretty
not
new. It
here. But
wasn't even a thing when we were here on our last.
yeah, they developed it when they had like the political change last time when it was more like the Green Party was had
Mm,
more saying in
yeah,
things,
yeah, they
that
were
they
part of the
developed it.
coalition.
Yes, yes. All right. So I wanted to ask you, um, if there were, since you moved there, were there like any surprises? Meaning, like, are there things that they do or they don't do, or that they have or not have that is different than what you're used to?
Yeah, so we remembered from last time, but it still took getting used to again that the grocery stores, all the stores are closed on Sundays.
Hmm.
So inevitably we'll be cooking something and not have an ingredient and not be able to go get it. There will be
Yeah.
maybe like one store in town that is open, or gas stations you can go and they might have some things, but yeah, stores are all closed on Sundays and you just have to plan around it. And it's a bit of a like mindset shift too, because for me, I feel like in the US, usually we think of Sunday as kind of like the errand day of the
Yeah.
weekend, and Saturday is like the fun day or the rest day. But you have
Right.
to kind of flip that. And it's kind of funny how difficult that, or how deeply set that
I
is
mean,
in your mindset.
it's it's also more like you're like in the US when you're more flexible around it. Like it's like, oh yeah, sure, let's meet friends that day and then we'll do the errands the other day, but that's like
Yeah.
more set. It's like if you have to do something then has to be on Saturday.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. But did it is it like something that you keep on forgetting and it's like, ah crap, it's Sunday, I cannot get anything? Or is it
I think we're good at remembering now, but it still feels like, we'll always do like a grocery run on Saturday and we'll still run out of stuff on Sunday. Like I think last Sunday
right? I
it
mean,
was
that's
chicken
just how it
nuggets
is,
and
right? I mean, you
yeah.
always forget something. And do you think like in Germany you do like a different kind of grocery shopping than you are in the US?
Yes, that's also very different. We go grocery shopping almost every day now, whereas in the US, because we did have one car, you would go,
Mm-hmm.
you load up the whole trunk for like the week and then take that home, and also buying in bulk, we kind of
Yeah.
miss. But our refrigerator here is tiny.
Yeah, 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 that's
Can't
right.
even buy that much. And then
Yeah.
all the packaging things just come in much smaller packages. So it's definitely, you have to get used to it. Changes the way you cook too. You have to kind of cycle through things a little bit faster and figure out how to do your planning for buying things multiple times a
Yeah,
week.
but it's true not just for groceries, like it comes in smaller packages. It's also like
Mhm.
the shampoo and the shower gel. They're like way
Yeah,
smaller.
yeah.
Like everything is smaller.
Yeah, and also you're used to supermarkets in the US where everything will just be in one store, and here you have to kind of figure out which store to go to, because grocery stores have pretty much just groceries, maybe also like toilet paper and a few things.
Yeah.
But then if we needed a screwdriver, you have to figure out which store to go to, or shampoo and
Oh, that's what
conditioner.
you mean. Sure. I think
Mhm.
I mean that's also because you are like just by foot or with the bike. But if you have a car, you can probably go out of town, where then usually is a
Yeah,
little bit of a bigger supermarket. They might not have tools, but they have like all the hygiene products that you need, or like whatever,
true, yeah.
or
And
pens.
there is a Kaufland on the other
Hmm.
side of town from us, but again, yes, because we're walking or taking the bus, it's easier to go, 2 blocks up to the Reva, which is only groceries.
Right. So do you think like your running errands is like takes more part of your day?
Luckily for me, no, because that is what Jerome is up to when I'm
Uh-huh.
working. Um, and I think he fits it in pretty naturally around, like he has to go pick up our daughter at 1 every day. And so I think he's pretty easily able to fit a quick trip now into, after like dropping her off or picking her up.
Yeah, sure. It's like along the way somewhere you'll find a supermarket because they're also, since they're smaller, they're like more spread out. It's not just like one big one. It's like there's what a small Lidl, there's a small Edeka, there's a small corner store.
Yeah,
It's
and I really like that. It's nice to be able to live like anywhere in the city and be able to walk to a grocery store.
yeah. But what about like because that's for me still um thinking in metrics. Because like it's still like part of your uh, daily
Hmm.
interactions with other people. You talk about the weather or whatever,
Yep.
and then all of a sudden it's like numbers. You have no idea what they mean.
Yes, yes, I can do weather in Celsius now, at least for winter and spring. I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna need to kind of recalibrate as we get to summer, but I put my phone
Sure.
on Celsius, so that helps figure it out. They also do like the time is what we would call military time in the
Right, right.
US. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to, like, I was scheduling a hair appointment and I said like, oh, 1:30, and she looked at me like, what are you talking about? And she was like, oh, you mean 13:30? And I was like,
Yeah.
well, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Right, right. Okay, yes. But is that like, I mean, you learn those things in school, at least like the time, but I mean, you learn it when in second grade. So is this like something that you
Yeah.
always kind of know what it is anyway? So it's just like
Yeah.
a getting used to, or is it like, oh, I have to completely research it again?
Yeah, there are some that I like. Some are a bit intuitive now, and some I have to still sit and calculate. So, like, I've been doing a lot of weightlifting over the last year, and so I'm going to a gym here doing weightlifting, and honestly, I'm lifting a lot less than I used to, so it's kind of nice to not know how much I'm lifting until after
Uh-huh.
the session. I will calculate it and be like, "Oh, that was only that much." But yeah, I know how heavy it feels, obviously, but I'm not quite intuitive with a lot of the higher range of kilos. But I can do like I know what the dumbbells are and stuff now. So yeah, it's just
Okay.
it just takes time before it becomes intuitive for sure.
Right. And is it when you go to a supermarket, back to that, so how would you compare pricing to US prices?
It's pretty similar, I think. So we've, in the couple months that we've been here, I think our budget for groceries has been pretty similar or a little
Oh, it
bit
has.
lower than the
Mm.
US. And I don't like, I'm not comparing a lot of like individual items. And I don't think our eating patterns have changed too much. So I think it's pretty
Hmm.
comparable, but it's, yeah, I would say it's similar or a little bit less here once you take into account the exchange between like euros and US dollars.
Yeah. No, oh, that's interesting because I think it just got more similar in the last few years because the inflation rate in Europe was much higher than it was in the US. Because
Mm,
like I remember like when I felt going shopping in Germany, it's like super cheap. But I guess
yeah.
not. It's not that cheap anymore.
Yeah, well, and it's hard. It's hard to do intuitively because if you're going like every day or every 2 days, it's like, oh, I'm always spending like 40 or 50 euro.
Hmm.
But yeah, it hasn't added up to quite as much as we might spend in the
Yes,
US.
and then also probably it's is like as you said, the portions are smaller, so it seems cheaper,
Yeah.
but you're only getting like a third or like half of
Yeah.
whatever of the cheese or whatever. Do you have more time off? Like, how do you feel about the difference in work-life balance?
Yeah, I was thinking about that today because it's Easter holidays here. So
Yeah,
there's the Friday off and the Monday off around the
yeah.
Easter weekend, which neither of those are holidays in the US. And then also, as you talk to people, they'll talk about the holidays that they're taking, and they're like 2 weeks long or 3 weeks long or more. Or a colleague was talking about how a friend of hers rents out their home every time they go on holidays because they're going on holidays for 6 weeks at a time. So that makes it worth it for them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we don't go for that long in the US.
Yeah.
Like my husband's job at one point, we were taking a trip to New Zealand, and they were trying to deny his time off request because you weren't allowed to take more than 1 week off at a time.
Oh, yeah, but it only takes 1 week to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, that was something I was able to kind of adopt or notice the last time I was in Europe. And in academia in the US, things are a little bit more flexible. So you can kind of have a more European attitude, I think, to work-life balance,
Okay.
depending on where you are.
Oh, I see.
So I feel like that was something I picked up and kind of adopted from my time here, is that like I'm happy to just put on an out of office message and not check my email.
Okay.
And I really did learn that from like my European colleagues that I had in my last Fulbright, because even though the experience was only like 2 months in the country, we were still able to collaborate virtually for a while. And I remember, just every time I would email the group, at least one out of office email would come back that somebody's on holiday. And yeah, I appreciate that attitude.
So when you were taking this back to the US, like how was that accepted from your other colleagues who were like not Europeans?
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky that I haven't really been in a position where anybody questioned it or anything. But when I tried to like convince some of my postdocs that I was supervising, I'm like, don't check your email when you're on a holiday. Don't have your email on your phone even. Nobody really took it up. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't convince them to adopt it, but nobody has questioned me on it so far. But we'll see as I'm shifting kind of roles when I get back, and we'll see what the culture is in that new work environment.
I see. So you plan on taking it with you and then see like what the reactions will be. Because like I know, for example, like my neighbor, her work, she has unlimited time off. But she's never taking any days off, like maybe a week the whole year, maybe. And I'm like, for me as a European, I just cannot comprehend. I don't know, because like, of course, you take your holidays, but it's just not socially accepted. Kind of. Well, there's like this pressure from your peers.
Policies from, even if you have technically unlimited PTO, it still has to be approved, at least in my experience with friends who have that, and that can be a hurdle. But so that's one
totally
thing.
Wishy-washy.
Yeah. With my husband, thinking about what does he do when my daughter's going to be in school more full time when we get back and maybe re-entering the workforce. I'm worried because my job is so flexible. Like, our lives are only as flexible as the least flexible commitment that we have. And so I'm worried about what his situation is going to be, because it will probably be more American than European being.
Right. And he's not in like the university setup.
Right.
Yes. Maybe you should go into academia too. Just like, just for the work-life balance.
Yeah, true. I think he could get like discounts on a graduate degree. So maybe that's what I'll suggest.
Yeah. What would you suggest, like the listeners, like what to expect in Germany? What big hurdles are? What's better? Yeah.
So I mean, definitely the stereotype about the bureaucracy is true. There is a lot of bureaucracy at a lot of levels of German life. And there's not a lot of digitalization. So a lot of forms have to be like physically signed on paper. You're going to get a lot of letters that are written in German. I got with my university ID, I got like a letter about, how to use the ID and not use the ID. And it's in German, even though it came to me from like the International Office for Researchers. So you would think they might.
It could be in English, maybe.
Yeah. And also on there are like 10 hyperlinks that are like 60 characters long that's on paper, so you can't click
You
that.
cannot click it.
No, so you have to type
Yeah.
in the 60 characters if you want to follow that
So,
link. So,
there are a lot of complications and like things that could they do better in that point.
yeah.
That's like easy
Yeah.
fixes, though.
True.
You might
Yeah,
think.
so definitely a lot of the bureaucracy. I think housing is difficult a lot of places. Um,
Hmm.
I think that the job market is also difficult. Like, I'm lucky to be here on the Fulbright and supported by the university because that's made a lot of that so much easier.
Yeah.
But I have like a colleague working at the lab that I'm with who's from Ukraine, and he and his wife are both academics, and she's been looking for a job for months and hasn't found anything. And he
Okay.
has a time limited scholarship and has been looking for months and hasn't found anything. And they also had
Mm.
a lot of trouble finding an apartment big enough for them and their two kids, and also
Okay.
trouble getting their youngest in kindergarten. So there's a lot of those bureaucratic struggles that some of
Sure.
those we got to sidestep, luckily.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, but for me, I also like I feel almost a sense of relief living here versus where we were in the US. I mean, there's obviously like
Okay.
a political situation that's for me stressful living in the US. And but also there are just ways where it feels a little bit more aligned with my values to
Hmm.
here in Germany. Like I value the public transportation and being able to get spaces and the access to food. And, it has problems, of course, but I think they do a little bit better here at taking care of people with lower incomes. And so there's maybe less income disparity. There's more available healthcare. Those kinds of things kind of running behind the scenes that I
Yeah.
appreciate.
I think that too. But I always think like if you're thinking politics, then you cannot always say like Germany or Europe is so much better. I mean, maybe it is because they have a different party system that's just two parties, but the far right is really strong in Europe too.
Yeah.
Because like you cannot always say like, oh, at least in Germany I don't have to care about like the whatever crazy MAGA or something, but it's there too.
Yeah. Yeah. True. The state elections here have had a big rise in that in recent years.
Hmm. Yeah. Do you think though? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's different because I'm in the South and you are in Michigan, and I've never been to Michigan. But do you think, like in Germany, religion matters less? As like, what is your experience as an expat?
Yeah, so it's been interesting because, right, like the Easter holidays feel like a much bigger deal here than in the
The
US.
U.S. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
but yeah, at least for me, and I don't know, other people might have different experience or in the South might be different. And then also, yeah, just like there are more holidays in Germany, but the holidays that they have are all pretty much around Catholic
Yeah,
celebrations, right? And
yeah.
they celebrate Carnival is a bigger deal, and that is part Catholic, but also has like the pagan roots, right? Where
Right,
they
right.
celebrate
And
with
it's
the
it's
parades
also
and
just whatever, getting dressed and
yeah.
whatever, drink.
So yeah, it's kind of hard for me to tell as an outsider like how important it is in daily life, but it does seem like at least on the calendar, the religion, like the Catholic religion, has a little bit more impact here, or is a little bit
Hmm.
more visible in that way. Um, yeah, but
But
it's like a
in
different flavor of religion
but it's
than
not
the
in
U.S.
your but it's not like in your face,
Yeah.
kind of.
Like the event is like in your face, but the religious aspects of it are not. And I guess that's what I mean by like it's maybe a different flavor
Yeah,
is that
yeah.
like
No,
everybody knows that it's happening and that it's this event and this holiday. But they're not starting the carnival parade with a prayer.
yeah, and it's happening maybe more in private, or like it's happening in church if you go, or in your house, but you're
Yeah.
not bringing it outside.
Yeah.
Kind of. You're not
Although
like
we did
forcing it on other
see,
people.
when we were here in January, there were a lot of kids going around with like door-to-door singing. And I
Yeah,
think
that
that's like a religious thing,
it's
right?
on January 6th.
Yes.
It's the Three Kings.
Yeah.
And it's it's a thing. It's also it's still like part of the ending of the Christmas celebration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's happening. Yeah, that's right. But I feel like this is like the only thing that I can think of right now. I might be mistaken, of course, when it's like more obvious that you like go to door to like tell
Yeah.
other people about it. Otherwise, it's just in your own family.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you have answered all my questions.
Cool.
All right. So thank you very much for being a guest. I hope you have another nice 4 more months without any interruptions that you have to go home faster.
Thank you. And yeah, it's nice to be able to talk to you about Germany because obviously you have a very thorough perspective of it and are able to kind of compare in the other direction.
Yeah, exactly. Because like we're like on the other side. Yeah, totally. All right. I'm gonna push pause.
All right.
That was my interview with Caitlin. Thank you so much, Caitlin, for being a guest on my podcast. And guys, before I let you go, I just wanted to let you know that there are a few ways how you could support the podcast, and I would be grateful if you did. So one, of course, is just give the podcast a 5-star rating wherever you listen to the podcast. That would be great. And it's short and quick and doesn't take any of your time, really. And then, of course, like if you really like the podcast, then tell everyone about it and tell your friends and family, your dog and cat, and who else that you like the podcast and that they should try it out. Maybe they think it's great, and maybe you have a few expat or moving abroad friends who you could suggest it to. All right. And then there is another way. If you feel very generous, then you can also chip in a few dollar amounts, whatever you like, to buy me a coffee, and you will find a link in the show notes. Oh yeah, and then of course reach out if you want to be a guest. Find out more at worldscollidepodcast.com or check it out on Instagram. All right, that was it for now. Until then, bye.